So I've noticed something in the niche of the fitness industry that I'm in that serves high performers. So people who are the engine behind every good working economy, those who are, building businesses, who are creatives, who are entrepreneurs, who are top C-level executives. I've noticed an unfortunate trend where I've seen fitness trainers, coaches, even people in the healthcare space who serve this demographic and feel like they need to completely reinvent the wheel just so that they can differentiate themselves and charge more money. Now, I am not against charging a good rate for my services. In fact, I'm not cheap. And one of the reasons that I am not is that I'm very confident in what I'm doing. And I'm also willing to tell my clients no, and to really question them on certain decisions that they're making around things like whether or not they need to fast, avoiding certain foods like sugar, but then, going completely off the rails with alcohol at the weekend, or doing, a list of about 20 different supplements at one time where you can't possibly measure the effectiveness of any of them because you've got too many variables in the mix. Right? Like that's ultimately what you're paying for from a coach, is somebody to actually carve a very narrow, direct path forward in the midst of all this stuff being thrown at you when it comes to new information, when it comes to all these different recommendations, and many so-called experts who may have actually started out with very good intentions in their career, in their space, but they just got a little bit corrupted by the potential to earn a bit more money and to try and make that jump a bit too quickly. That's just something I've seen, and I'm not trying to make it out as if like, oh, I'm the perfect coach and you should only like trust me. There are many coaches I see who are definitely worth the money and worth paying good money to. And even if it's not someone like me that you work with, here's what I'd be looking for in a coach. Or any kind of person that you're looking to work with, right? So I'm not completely against any coach or someone that you work with trying something new, right? I'll often pick a doctor who seems to be willing to take a little bit of like healthy risk if the guidelines or whatever we're working with don't exactly fit whatever I'm dealing with. Like I'm willing to have people in my life, people I pay, who are willing to go a little bit against the grain and to try things differently every now and then. I actually respect that quite a lot. However, when it's like that, like when I get the sense that somebody is just trying to throw jargon and enough shit at the wall just to see what sticks, that's where I kind of feel like the person is veering more towards charlatan. Just so that they can charge more money. If they're doing things like recommending that you take 20 different expensive supplements that are cutting edge, or recommending things like peptides and HGH before you've even sorted out your energy balance, your sleep habits, looking to make sure you have enough vitamin D, checking your B vitamins, your folate levels, This is the kind of stuff that's really important. These are like the actual bare minimums when it comes to your health, when it comes to your fitness. And if you sort out a lot of these issues, then you don't need the very fancy, expensive solution. What you actually just need is accountability. You need someone who's constantly going to bring you back to a sensible path forward, not necessarily to try the latest thing just because it sounds more premium. This is a problem, a real problem I see in this space of people who are coaching high performers. The ideal scenario for anyone, regardless of what they earn, right, when it comes to their earning potential, when it comes to even their career or how much time they have, or their training experience, is that we can get you to a point at some point down the road, right, where you're sitting somewhere between 10 and 15% body fat. That's a very nice percentage. Even if you're up around 15%, you'll still look great, required you have enough muscle mass. With that prerequisite muscle mass, you then reduce your risk of things like type 2 diabetes because muscle mass soaks up excess blood sugar like a sponge. We would be looking that you regularly have a high fiber intake, so that lowers your risk again of type 2 diabetes, lowers your risk of developing heart conditions because cholesterol gets mopped up by fiber in the diet. We'd be looking at a solid multivitamin intake, right, from various sources of foods. Particularly the B vitamins. We'd also be paying close attention to vitamin D levels, so that your hormones are all firing correctly. But these are things that are like a recommended intake, right? So to make sure that you don't have any deficiencies. We're not going to get anything additional performance-wise out of, driving these numbers way up with additional expensive supplementation. We use supplementation when the diet, for logistical reasons or whatever, can't be improved upon, or you're dealing with a deficiency, or a combination of both, right? That's when supplementation makes sense. But it's not like taking performance-enhancing drugs that's going to lead you to a better result, right? And the same is true as well for very complicated exercises, right? So I'll see a lot of the high-end, high-ticket trainers put in these overly complicated training routines for people who just want to lose body fat and gain muscle mass. Now, in all circumstances, what you're trying to edge that client towards is to be able to do the basic compound exercises. Ideally with barbells, because training with barbells requires you to have a vertical bar path every time, which you need to manipulate your body around to achieve. So if you're able to do all the major barbell exercises, that would mean that as a prerequisite, you have excellent mobility, right? So if we get you to that end point of mostly doing strength training with barbells, that means that your mobility is quite good. Same if we can get you doing some calisthenics off a straight bar, okay? Because again, that's in a fixed position. This time your body's going to be moving vertically, and you need to manipulate your body when it makes sense to get you slightly out of that vertical bar path. For example, like when you need to rotate your shoulders on a pull-up or a chin-up. You might need to go slightly in a curved fashion to make that a bit more efficient. But what I'm trying to get at here, the main point I'm trying to drive home, is that to improve your overall fitness, your body composition, and to live a very healthy, happy life, it actually is a relatively straightforward, simple path. And then if we cannot do the simple, that's when we deviate to find a solution that can bring you back to the simple, to be able to do that effectively. Because if you have a coach who's trying to basically train you like an athlete, that doesn't leave a whole lot of mental bandwidth, a whole lot of energy in the tank when it comes to the arena you actually need to perform at a high level in, which is your work, it's your business, it's your profession, it's your purpose in life. So always remember, there's a give and a take, and if you're going to be trying to optimize multiple variables when it comes to your health and your fitness, then that's obviously going to somewhat take away from your ability to do the same when it comes to your purpose in life. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Just make sure that when you're vetting potential coaches or professionals that you work with, that they seem to have a bit of common sense about them, that they're not trying to use you to monkey branch to your kind of level of status by charging you exorbitant fees for just bullshit advice, for throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? Obviously, pay them a good rate, because if you pay a good rate, you get, a good service back. But just be careful. If somebody seems like they're maybe trying to throw too many cutting edge things out there, it's probably a sign that they're about the money. Anyway, hope this was helpful. And be sure to subscribe if you did find it helpful, and check the description I've got more information about my coaching service and also about how you can steal my systems when it comes to saving time and making your whole training and fitness regimen as time efficient as possible while still achieving your ideal body. Not someone else's ideal body, your ideal body, while you continue to perform at a high level in your area of expertise.